Hello, Big Show nerds. Thank you for watching the Big Show Entertainment Network. These are your nerd news headlines for August 16th, 2019, as brought to you by me, Dustin. And let's get into that intro so we can talk about all the news, shall we? TV news. We are on a time crunch. Let's get to it and jump right through all of the things. First off, you remember that Obi-Wan movie that we were supposed to get a little while ago? Well, it turns out that Ewan McGregor is still in talks to play Obi-Wan once more, but not in a movie. This time they're switching gears and making it a Disney Plus series, which could be freaking awesome. That's all we really know right now. The contract has not been finalized, but Obi-Wan is working. We're going to get it. Moving on. Next, we're talking about The Nevers, which is one that I somehow missed. Joss Whedon has a new series that is going to be on HBO, so yes and double yes. And this series is based in in Victorian England, but it still has superpowers, and there's just a lot of stuff. I put the synopsis, I believe, in the description, so go check that out. All of the people cast so far, because the biggest announcements so far have been casting, but all of the people cast so far, save for Nick Frost, which, again, another yes, are not really big names just yet, but it is Joss Whedon, and why is that that's never been a bad thing, ever, as far as TV is concerned, at least. Anyway, so moving on, next is a real quick update on the WandaVision series. WandaVision, obviously, the Marvel series that is going to be the Scarlet Witch and Vision, their series together. Just real quick, production begins September 21st, so that's going to be great. Next, we're talking about The Haunting of Hill House. No, not Bly Manor. We are not talking about the second season, just the first season. First season is about to get released on Blu-ray, and Amblin Entertainment, who is releasing it on Blu-ray, took to Twitter to say that not only are we getting all of the obvious behind the scenes and special features and all of that stuff that we don't get on Netflix, but we're also getting a longer cut of the series. So it's like the director's cut version of that 12-hour movie that we got 2 years ago now. But that is all we have for TV news, and we only have 2 bits for movie news this episode. And the first bit is Alexandre. It's a Hispanic way to say Alexander, and I apologize that I'm butchering it. Aja, the guy who did the Crawl movie, is doing another horror movie. And it's a nondescript horror movie, which generally we wouldn't be talking about, but we have been talking about this whole Netflix pick your own adventure thing and how other places are trying to do this. Well, I gotta check the notes for the production company. Amblin Partners and Kino Industries are partnering together with Alexandre Aja to make a pick your own adventure horror movie, which is interesting in and of itself, but it's going to be released in theaters, not in video on demand. So that makes it very interesting. So Kino Industries has CtrlMovie tech is what they call it. CtrlMovie is the tech that they're developing so that you can have an app on your phone while you're in the theater, and then presumably the most popular option in the pick your own adventure divergent, when the story diverges, the most popular option within the time frame is the one that gets chosen. So yeah, just really, really incredibly interesting. If this makes it all the way through development, it'll be very awesome to experience live, because that then creates a reason to go back to the theater to see it again, right? And then our last piece of news in movies is Henry Golding, the guy that was in Crazy Rich Asians. There was a few guys in Crazy Rich Asians, so that doesn't really narrow it down. But you're looking at him right here. But, I mean, Henry Golding, if you don't know the name, you can look it up. The only thing I knew I could find him from was Crazy Rich Asians. So he has just been cast, let's not bury the lead, he has just been cast as Snake Eyes for a G.I. Joe spin-off movie that may or may not be a soft reboot, kind of like Bumblebee was for Transformers. And speaking of Transformers, The Transformers universe and the G.I. Joe universe, as far as Paramount is concerned, they're looking to put a new spin, quote unquote, on both of those series. So hopefully they're learning their lesson, and because Bumblebee was one of the more well critically received anyway of the Transformers movies, and the last G.I. Joe was better critically received than the first G.I. Joe, even though there's only been the two, and so presumably this Snake Eyes movie is a spinoff from that version of the G.I. Joe, even though it's technically the same timeline, but they kind of did things rather differently in the second movie. That's the presumption, is that that's where it's spinning off of, and obviously they've recast Snake Eyes because Snake Eyes was played by Ray Park in the first two G.I. Joe movies. But it doesn't matter because Snake Eyes is a freaking dude in a ninja suit that doesn't talk and you never see his face, so as long as the dude has the physicality for it, by all means have at it. And actually, this is kind of more appropriate. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, in the comic books, Snake Eyes is of some sort of Asian, Chinese, maybe Japanese, probably Japanese. It's been a long time since I've been up on my G.I. Joe lore, but I'm pretty sure Japanese descent, so it would make more sense to have what I can only assume, because I, again, didn't look into his heritage, it doesn't really matter, but Henry Golding is a man of an Asian descent, so Chinese or Korean maybe, very possibly Japanese, I don't know, but that doesn't matter because it could be amazing or it could be a hot mess and just a giant train wreck. That does it for this episode of Headlines Nerds. For more in-depth conversation on these nerdy bits plus much more nerdy action, join me on my personal YouTube channel, Generally Nerdy, but don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on all of the Big Show Entertainment Media platforms, and tune in next time for all that's happening across the nerd world.